Okay, so here we are, 4 faculty from School of Humankind. It's the first Tuesday of the month. My Lord, it's December already. How did that happen? First Tuesday of the month, School of Humankind faculty to come together to just talk around a topic. And we have a little structure that the 4 of us will each talk for 2.5 minutes. And then each of us again will talk for a further 2.5 minutes to respond to what the others said in the first 2.5 minutes. And then we may just open it up to a general conversation. Depends on how time is. We're not trying to make a point. We're trying to explore something. We're trying to have a conversation. We're trying to tease out points of agreement, points of disagreement. If there's disagreement, super cool. We're grown-ups. We can disagree with each other. If there's agreement, great. That means we can start to really dig into why we think what we think. And this month, we are talking about whether or not it's necessary to have purpose in your life. Do you need to have a purpose? It's a big thing, isn't it, online? What's your purpose? Know your purpose. Do a workshop where you will discover your purpose. I know, I've run group courses saying, learn your purpose. Big thing. But is it necessary? Is it important? Is it useful? Does it even exist? That's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. We'll have 2.5 minutes each. Do we have a timer, Angela? Or
we do, I think. But I think it only shows when I press start. Did we want to do introductions at all, John?
Yeah, let's go around very quickly just to say hello. I'm John Britton. I'm co-founder of School of Humankind. I work in many fields as an artist, but also as training people to connect better, to become more present, to communicate better, and to become more creative. I work as a coach and a mentor in those fields. Vreni.
Yes, my name is Vreni Renkli. I am from Switzerland. I am an artist as well, a visual artist and also an art therapy practitioner. I am a mother of 3, and this is central to what I do because I am a matrescence facilitator coach as well. And I started this work through my own journey of being a mother, through my own journey of using art to kind of, you could say, find myself again after becoming a mother and going through matrescence. And this is what I do, help mothers who are new to this do now. So yeah, that's me.
Brilliant. Let's slip over the Atlantic to Gabby.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gabby Cadena. I live in New Mexico, but I'm actually from Mexico. And I'm an industrial and organizational practitioner and currently just really working on making workplaces trauma-informed and just a safer place for people to work at. So that's what I do. And I also come and participate with this awesome group of people at School of Humankind.
And we're going to shoot north to Angela.
Yes, I'm Angela Jameson. I'm also co-founder of School of Humankind. Very happy to be here with these wonderful people. And I have an engineering background and I help busy professionals see the softer side of, see the logic behind the softer side of life so that they can experience true relaxed productivity. I'm a relaxed productivity advocate where I want everyone to chill a little and enjoy life before it's too late. Not to be tragic or anything.
Excellent. Let's kick on. Do we need to have a purpose in life? And should we go in the same order? Should we start with Vreni? Let's have a bit of Swiss efficiency to bring us into the first 2.5 minutes. Let's have a look. What do you reckon, Vreni?
Oh, well, I was hoping to go last because I am joining this conversation knowing that this is by no means my expertise, but also knowing that the School of Humankind is a great place to learn from others who may have expertise in this field. And purpose was something that kind of, I never really considered having a purpose, like in the way that purpose is talked about now. And the interesting thing is that I became a mother, and when you become a mother, the purpose seems to be to make it to the bedtime of the kids, like this becomes the purpose of every day. So, and also being a mother, I started doing my art more intensely and taking business courses and marketing courses. And then everybody was like, so first, what's your purpose? And I was like, I'm a mother, I don't even have time to think about purpose, but I want to market my art and I just have to make it to the bedtime. And I started thinking about it for sure, but came across a talk, I don't remember who gave the talk, where somebody said this line and I kind of stick with it. It was like, when everybody who's always asking, what's my purpose? Then their purpose may be looking for their purpose in life. So I was kind of, okay, I'm done with it. I'm not going to be the person who's just looking for the purpose to my last day. So I'm absolutely not able to say what my purpose in life is, even though I would be able to say what I try to achieve or who I try to help with my work in this world. But I never put this big label of like purpose to it, which feels a little bit daunting to me.
Beautiful. Thank you. Let's see where Gabby takes us from the other side of the world.
Okay, so you got me thinking, because when I was thinking about this topic, I thought, like, the very first thing that I thought was, I feel like everybody had, I think everybody has a purpose. I don't think we're aware of what that purpose is unless we kind of go down that rabbit hole of like the identifying and bringing it and narrowing and, putting a label on that. Because I feel like for a long time, my purpose was to survive. Like, I didn't have like I'm going to make the world better. It was just like, I need to get through the day. I need to get these things done. I need to make sure I show up, like you have those, this is kind of what my purpose is right now, but we don't say those things, I guess. To me, I feel like once I become very clear about what our values are and what we want to do on this earth, or how we want to be remembered, or how we want to just live, I think that's when we kind of narrow it down to, I think this is my purpose. I think this is what I'm supposed to do. To me, that's kind of like my experience with when I think of purpose. Like, if I don't know what my values are, if I don't know what I'm fighting for or doing, or if there's anything that I'm contributing to the earth, whether it be just being kind one day when I'm having a bad day, like if I don't have that clear in my head, I just feel untethered and I feel lost. And I feel like I struggle to kind of be mindful about what I'm doing on a daily basis. It just kind of become this thing that's floating around. I don't know. It's like a weird, I went down like weird down, like thinking about purpose and like, what is it really? And like John was saying, like, do we need to know what it is? Do we need to be aware and like blast it on LinkedIn or Instagram? Like, do we just keep it to ourselves and say, this is what I know I need to do? That's kind of what for myself, that's what I do. Like when I'm feeling like, oh, I don't want to go and get up and get dressed and do the adulting thing. It's like, okay, but this is my purpose. Like, I know I have to go to something. So that helps. I don't know.
Beautiful. Thank you, Gabby. Angela, where do you come at this?
Well, it was interesting because I have a membership and we just went over this. This was a sort of my November lesson to my membership that we discuss every year. So this is my take on purpose. I believe as an engineer, we need to have a purpose to do things. Otherwise, why do it? right? So I think it's really important to have a purpose. And I think we make it harder on ourselves when we think, I have to have a singular purpose in life. What I, and in my own deliberations about purpose, and it all started when my dad passed away, and I was like, we're here one moment and we're gone the next. So what is the purpose of all of this? And what I came to realize is that the purpose of life is joy. And I know that sounds really simple, but there's two tenets underneath it. One is growth and the other is freedom. So when we want to be happy, when we search for joy, we have to realize that our definition of joy is constantly expanding. Because, when you're a kid, your definition of joy might be to get a certain candy. But as you get older, once you get the candy, you want a different candy, or you want, something bigger, because you've already had what you thought brought you joy. And if you had everything that brought you joy all the time, it stops bringing you joy. So we are beings that always need growth. We always need the next step. So that's the wonderful thing about saying that your purpose is joy, because you're just keep going on the next step of what your life adventure brings you. Freedom is the second tenet, because we have the freedom to choose joy in whatever situation we're in. And that's a lot of mindset. That's a lot of, I was telling my membership to the Vita e Bella, that movie Life is Beautiful. That was the story of someone in a concentration camp who chose joy despite the horrible circumstances they were in. So in closing, the purpose of life is joy, but understanding growth and freedom.
Lovely. I'll give it a go. So, yeah, it's interesting that you end up, Angela, in concentration camps. I sort of start there. That Viktor Frankl, who wrote Life's Search for Meaning, or Man's Search for Meaning, in his work after the war, created logotherapy, which is very clear about saying without meaning, a human is lost, suffers existential despair. Is meaning the same as purpose? No, but they're connected. So I ask myself, well, what is purpose? And I look around and I look at a company that says, our purpose is to do this, to make the world a better place. And I go, I don't want to be cynical, but horse shit. Your purpose is to try to fool us that you're an ethical company so you can make a lot of money. And if I want to be less cynical, when people go, my purpose is to help people to do this, this, and this, I go, yeah, your purpose is also to earn a living. You are also here in the marketplace. And so I sometimes think that when we talk about purpose, we are finding pretty little lies to distract ourselves from, some of the hard truths that we live by, which is that sometimes life is a struggle, sometimes we feel lost, sometimes we have no sense of meaning. Now, does this mean that there is no point in purpose? Absolutely not. But the definition of purpose is, for me, really complicated. I teach a course, or I have a few times, I might not do it again, but taught a course called Finding Purpose Through Pleasure and Presence, which links to some of what you're saying, Angela, about joy. But I need a definition of purpose to run that course by. And the definition that I have is a feeling of rightness. It's not something you can quite put into words. You can't go, my purpose is X, Y, and Z. For me, a real sense of, yes, this is what I want and need and should be doing, is when you suddenly go, this is right. This is right. I might not even be able to put that into words, but I am aligned. My activities are aligned with my community and with the sort of person that I want to be, the sort of person I want to be. So do we need purpose? Yes, because we need to live inside that feeling of rightness. Now, Angela froze and then the time froze as well. So I might have gone on a little bit too long.
This is very convenient for you, right?
Can you
Are you
still hear
there,
me?
Angela?
Can you hear me?
Yes, you froze for a little bit and some, but I can still hear you.
My computer is dying.
Oh, no.
I know. And I cannot control it anymore.
Okay, well, we're just going to keep going and hope that your snow-driven Wi-Fi has returned to normality in a minute or two. I'm going to do a timer at this end as well, just so that I can keep an eye on it, because your timer is frozen, Angela. So we move on. I think that's 4 quite interestingly different takes on the nature of purpose. Vreni, how do you want to respond? Or has anything that Angela and Gabby or I said made you question or reinforce what you were thinking?
So interesting. The last thing you said, that purpose is this feeling of rightness, or just this feeling of being aligned, and that you find your purpose through pleasure and presence. This is something that very much resonated with me, because when I started exploring this topic of purpose a little bit, I said that I had 3 very young kids at the moment. So I found myself in this situation of trying to find this big purpose thing that you described before as this slogans the brands have, and it was pretty much in this sense as it was taught in this marketing course. And then on the other side, I had the parenting of my little kids, and whenever I kind of went through the day and I had a feeling of that I had been able to kind of fulfill my children's needs and still kind of feel like a human being myself in my body, I felt this, as you said, like this feeling of rightness and this extreme joy, to come what Angela said, just about life, about myself, about that whole thing, that it felt like round and complete, I'd say. And I was like, well, this feels pretty much like purpose, like purposeful, and also like very, I think Gabby said, like when you are able to contribute something to this earth, to this world, that makes it a better place. And those two, like this feeling of purpose and the definition I was fed in this course, they just did not match. And I think this was where I gave up with this purpose thing. And I just thought, okay, let's just leave this aside. And that's pretty much what you described, John, right? This gap between what companies declare as their purpose and what it probably might rather be, also coming from my experience.
Beautiful. Thank you. Gabby, what's it stimulating in you?
Oh my gosh. I love the idea of like purpose being joyful or joy, and also that good feeling, because I'm hearing everybody talk and I'm thinking, like, yes, John, I also feel yuck when people are like, when it's just this public purpose, when there's this, here's the thing that I'm gonna do, because it sometimes doesn't feel genuine. And I think there's always this other agendas. Like, yes, I understand there are many people that want to make the earth better by doing this extra things, which are going to benefit you more than everybody else. Like, there's all this, like, we can break it down and really question some purpose. But I think also what I'm hearing is a lot of feeling good, like when, and kind of what came to mind was when you do the best you can with intention, like when it feels right, and it doesn't matter who claps, and it doesn't matter who agrees, and it doesn't matter who comes and likes the post. Like when you're doing something that just feels good, and as in your mind, as to the best of your ability and knowledge, know I think this is the right thing to do, and this is the right thing that I want to do, and this is how I want to contribute and go on about life. I think that's a very different thing. I feel like, I don't know that everybody needs to feel like that. I wish people did, but it's not Gab's world, it's the world, right? But I think when you become really intentional about, what it is that we do on a daily basis and become honest behind that, it's okay to have a purpose to want to make money and live life in a very luxurious way. If that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. But when we become honest about the reality, what is it that we really want? That's what kind of intrigues me.
Beautiful. That's very strong, I think. Angela, are you back?
I think so. And I am surprised you guys just are still there. I'm like, hooray.
Yeah, but Gabby suddenly just became host when you disappeared.
Oh, that's great.
So who can tell?
Are we still live streaming though?
We are. It looks like we are. Yeah.
We are indeed. So, Lord, do you hear enough there to be able to give a further response, Angela?
No, I heard nothing. I just wanted to say, I think, what Vraini and Gabby said about, I don't know what my life purpose is. I think that's a really common thing. And I don't know, maybe
Sorry
if I'm
to
repeating.
interrupt you, Angela. I have to interrupt you. Gabby, could you spotlight Angela? I don't know if others will be able to see her
Oh,
in
thanks.
the recording otherwise. Sorry.
Can you what? I'm sorry.
Spotlight me.
Spotlight Angela when you're the host.
Otherwise you'll hear this voice coming out of the what do you call ether? I'll be like God to this meeting.
You are, Angela.
Oh, yes.
Okay, was it working now? I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Do you know how to spotlight me?
No, Angela, you're the host again.
Am I?
When I look in the list, it says Angela host.
Okay, maybe
Okay,
you
well then I'll just spotlight myself.
There you go. That sounds like a great idea because I know what
You're
I'm doing.
back.
But everyone else is spotlighted?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
all good.
Okay. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Yeah, so I was saying that often people are on this mad search for purpose when I think it's just joy, and how we find it is, so individual to everyone. But and I think there's a lot of personal development that not prey on people who have, wonder about this purpose, but there's a lot of people trying to help each other find purpose when actually it's so individual that we need to do a lot of self-searching, self-discovery, but then also relax into the fact of just have a freaking good time with your life, because that's the whole point of it. Okay, that's it.
Beautiful.
Was it beautiful, John?
It was wonderful. There's a couple of things I just want to pick up on, as I'm going last out of this, that I think are really important. I really hear, Vreni, what you say about the tension between, we've got to have a purpose, and the feeling that somehow that isn't authentic, and that that can put people off the whole sense of going, well, should I think about a purpose? And I think, Gabby, you also touch on something really important there when you start saying, this is my purpose, you are a millimeter away from performing your purpose instead of living your purpose. It becomes performative. It's like the people who jump up and down and say, I'm anti-racist, but don't do anything about it in their daily lives. They are performing their anti-racism, but they're not actually doing it. And I think we are encouraged when we make public statements to perform that statement. And I'm being a little cynical here, but and maybe I'm being a little harsh here. But one of the problems with this whole thing is that, people go, well, my purpose is to make the world a better place. Everybody's purpose is to make the world a better place. For somebody, for themselves or for their community or for their family or for their ethnicity or for their religion or for the whole world or for the non-human animals, or, I want to make the world a better place for foxes. There are very few people who go, I want to make the world a worse place for everybody, including myself. So to say that your purpose is to want to make the world a better place is to say I'm human. However, and again, I want to come to you, Angela, when you talk about putting joy, that's where a lived sense of purpose becomes authentic. Now, I find it useful to split joy into two words, two Greek words, eudaimonia and hedonia. Hedonia means immediate joy. I love doing this. And eudaimonia means deferred gratification, sort of. It means living in a way that aligns with your morality and ethics. And sometimes you have to do things in the short term because in the long term there are benefits. And sometimes you go, screw my long term, I just want to have a good time right now. So those two forms of joy help us make choices, but those choices are individual and private and authentic, and they are what create what for me is purpose, which is the feeling of aligned rightness.
That's deep.
Well, you dug the hole. I just threw the last bits of soil out to make it look like I'd done something clever.
But I like, are we in our free form?
Go for it.
Okay, I liked when you said, when we worry about it too much, we stop living it. And that's one thing I've really found about a lot of people is that we are too worried about so many things that a lot of times you just got to relax. And that's a really big part of my personal message to people is often when you relax, you let go, you chill, you do something that you really like to do and really find the joy in it. Like I, I've been making myself, John, you laugh at me, the soy milk lattes, and they bring me so much joy. I was late for a meeting with John because I was like, sorry, I'm late. I was making a soy milk latte. And he's going, oh, that's kind of frou-frou. But but it brought me so much joy. And when we can find the joy in the little things, and they're so individual. Like I just feel like people need to relax and just live and just
And
feel with all your senses.
that's what I would identify as hedonia. That sense of going, you know what? Right now, I'm going to give myself a little hit of joy. Sometimes for me, because I'm not a big soy milk latte person, mainly because I don't drink lattes. I like my coffee exceptionally thick and black and strong and without sugar. But if I want a little hit of joy, I go and stand in my garden. There's a forest growing in my garden. I've got an acre of wild land out here in rural Ireland, and I stand in my forest, which is growing, and I listen to the birds. And you know what? The day becomes one whole hell of a lot better. Really does. That's hedonia. And then I come back in and I try to do something that, from my perspective, will make the world a better place. And that's eudaimonia, even if it's something I don't like doing, like writing a document or something like that. So the soy milk latte is really important because it gives us the energy to go, cool, I'm here, I'm now, and life is good.
But you're right. There is, I think, all those little things we have to do to make the long-term happiness as well. It's an important balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you only focus on the joy in the moment, this joy in a way wears off, like if you have it all the time, I think it's not going to last all the time. So we need those two different qualities of joy, as you said.
And it must be exhausting. Like if you're just like having all these big hits of happiness, like I can't take so much.
When I was training, because I always used to train people through, when I was training dancers and actors and so on, I'd train people through the pursuit of pleasure, through the pursuit of joy. And precisely for that reason, Flenny, I would split the idea of joy or enjoyment into three levels. Fun, you can have fun. Fun's like candy, quick hit of, ooh, that's nice. But pleasure, you got to work for. Pleasure comes as a consequence of your efforts. You achieve pleasure, you have fun and you achieve pleasure. And sometimes when you fall into flow state, where everything just disappears and you're really in the zone and you're flying, I call that joy. That's when you just go, whoa, I'm flying, man. I'm here. Both the immediate gratification and the long-term objectives are aligned. I'm really there. Pleasure, that comes from work. Sometimes you have to, even if you're not enjoying it, you go, I'm going to keep doing the work because I'm searching for pleasure. And fun, yeah, you have fun, but like candy, one candy's nice, two candies are kind of nice, three candies you start to feel nauseous. Or in your case, because I'm a diabetic, I can't do more than three. Some people might go, 30 candies are too much, but there's always too much candy. So I think, Vreni, that splitting the word up is really important.
Initially, when you said you like to split the word joy up, I was like, there's 3 letters, John. What are you going to do? Ja and oi? What?
Yeah, is there a problem? There's a problem here.
Can I add, because I feel like that's kind of where people get confused as to like, oh, purpose should feel good all the time. Or purpose, when I feel like I'm living my purpose, I am like in this determined state that I've arrived. And like I keep thinking like purpose is not a destination. Purpose is something that you work on, it changes. Because what Vernie was talking about made me think about, yeah, sometimes at this point in time, this is what I feel my purpose is. However, like for myself, my purpose before November was very different from my purpose now. Just because of the way that things are going in our political climate, and we get a choice, and we have to really look at our values, and we have to look at who we are and who we want to be and how do we want to show up. And then that's when it changes. And now there comes that work. Okay, I don't think I'm living my full purpose because now I'm having to work on being kind and having difficult conversations with people and trying to understand people. And before, my purpose was just let's live life and be a good human. Now it's okay, now we all got to come together to the table, even when I don't want to, even when I'm afraid and uncomfortable, I have to do it. So I love what you're saying, because I feel like we do get lost on I'm searching my purpose to distract from the real work that it takes to live that purpose and to figure out what it is. I don't know, I feel like I'm going in circles now.
No, yeah, again, for me, because I mean, I haven't got the particular political situation of America at the moment, but we live in a time where there is an awful lot of changes happening politically and environmentally, which are challenging. For me, it's really interesting to ask the question, for you to ask the question. I'm not asking it you now, but for you to ask the question, although you say your purpose changed before November and after November, and I really get that. The question is, what didn't change? And what didn't change is perhaps the deeper level of authenticity that lay behind the levels that you were working at. You go, I used to think this, now I think this, but you know what? All the way through, I have thought this. And then we begin to move towards that closer sense, that closer to that sense of rightness, that sense of going, I've always aspired to this in the last 15, 20 years, whatever. So it's always interesting when you go, things have changed, also to ask the question, great, what hasn't? And sometimes the answer to that is really surprising. You go, wow, I didn't realize what hasn't changed is not something I ever paid attention to, but actually it's the pulse of my life. It's the through line, which I've never noticed before.
I like how you bring in the authentic joy, so your authenticity, because what I find about the true definition of authentic joy is one that is full of self-awareness. that we can see the helicopter view of our life, that we know periods of growth are going to be hard sometimes. But because when we are self-aware, we go, I'm growing. When I'm uncomfortable, that means I'm growing, I'm expanding. And so there can be real joy within a negative feeling because oh, this is going to create a better person. This is going to show me really what I want out of life or what I really like. So I think the, you know, joy in terms of the candy, that's not a sustaining joy. But joy in terms of the full awareness of what your life means, that you need to feel the negatives to really savor the positives. That's true joy when you go, oh, this sucks. But now knowing this, the suckage, you are just so happy when it doesn't suck. And so
Yeah.
it's just life is full of beautiful ups and downs. And when we can see it like that, how can you not have joy? Just to be alive.
How much does that resonate, Vreni, for you into the, we've talked before about the sort of the sense of going, wow, suddenly I'm a mother, which was an extraordinary shift in the nature of your life. And there must be times where it's just really hard.
Yes.
I guess, I've heard that sometimes it's not all,
Sometimes.
it's not all roses and Instagram pictures, is it?
No, it isn't. But it was very interesting. I'm not done thinking about it, but when you said that there's a change and you try and figure out what did not change. And I was like, this is a very interesting train of thought also for me to kind of look back and think about what did not change. And don't know if I'm already able to put it into words, but I think a lot changed when I became a mother, right? So, but there were certain like values or like the really important cornerstones of my life that were really, how do you say, like they did not change because of me as a person, this was the thing that stayed. And I kind of would say I can feel it in my body, so when it feels aligned to those elements of myself that did not change, this is a very new thought. I don't know if I'm able to put this into words, but it seems as if this could be like the signposts towards my purpose.
Yeah, I think that's very powerfully put. I think that's really powerful.
It is. It's like everyone has their own values, but throughout our lives, we apply it to different situations in different ways, but they are still our bedrock of values. And
Yes,
sometimes you can't quite put a finger on it, right? You can't quite say, but you know what feels good to you. You know what feels right. And then you just keep pursuing that. In no matter what situation you are, childless or not. Yeah.
yes, and it's you said, like what feels right, and this is what I can't put my finger on it. It feels as if it's kind of located in my body as kind of something I can anchor to, even though I'm a big advocate for matrescence. This period of like becoming a mother, like the transformation from maiden to mother, which there's a big part of it that talks about the identity shift, and then you become a kind of completely new person that you have to get to know again. But when I approach it with this idea of looking for what did not change, it feels like something very visceral that kind of was the core, and this did not change. Yeah.
And you're just something that you're saying there is echoing back to something you said earlier for me about the potential tension, which I've certainly really felt between, a very honestly thought out and expressed purpose in words, or a personal mission statement, or an intention, and my embodied sense that even though every part of me agrees with what I'm saying, I don't agree with what I'm saying. or somehow I do not want to do the things that are necessary to achieve the things that I say that I want. And certainly from my background training performers and as a performer, that embodied wisdom, which is essentially the wisdom of the unconscious, is infinitely richer and more authentic than the verbal wisdom of the conscious. I love words. I love the conscious mind, you know, I write and all of those things. But the real truths are found when they emerge from the unconscious, and they emerge as embodied feeling. And I don't mean feeling like an emotion. I mean that sense of going, yeah, yeah. You can't put any more words to it than that. It's just when you nod and go, this is right for me now. And then maybe a year from now, it won't be right for me now. But for me now, this is right. This is the place I need to be. Today, I drove to deliver some pictures to a shop that wants to sell some of my pictures. Standing there chatting to the fella who runs the shop. Absolute sense of going, this is close to the way I want to be living. It's real things being given to real people that I made with my hands, and other people will look at and either say, I like it and will pay for it, or I don't like it and I won't pay for it. Really concrete. That feels right to me in a way that my rational mind goes, well, you're never going to get rich selling pictures. But it's at an embodied level. I go, that is aligning with the sort of person I want to be. Your movement towards sort of, well, I use the word embodied. You weren't using the word embodied, but you know, embodied understanding, I think, is so accurate, Frenny. For me, it absolutely goes to the heart of what we're saying here.
Yeah, so thank you for putting the words to it.
I like that.
Beautiful.
That makes me think of when I was doing counseling for substance abuse, there was always a lot of conversation around like, we want this outcome, which was sobriety or stability or whatever the goal was. But there was always this conversation that needed to be had, which was, but what do I really want? Like, because when you said that, Bernie, what came to mind was, it feels like home. Like I'm coming to me deep inside. I'm really removing all of these things that people want me to say and people want me to do, like truly what I feel. And in that case, like, for example, in counseling, sometimes it was like, I'm not ready. They would say, I'm not at that point. Or even in ourselves, when we're going through this life changes or identifying what our purpose is, sometimes we're not ready to step into that. And I think that is the most authentic and real answer you can give yourself, to say, this is what feels right, even though it may not be what everybody wants to hear or what everybody wants me to do, but this is where I stand. And then that's the starting point. And then being okay with it, even if it's not what we would want it to be. Like I hear John saying, you're never going to get rich doing that. You don't know that. So maybe you will. And maybe deep down, that's not the purpose of painting, like, and selling your pictures. It's just to share what you see and how you see the world. So it really a lot of times boils down to that home. And I love the way that everybody put that together, because it made me, it feels like that true self, like the one thing inside us that we're like, yeah, we feel it, we know how it thinks, or how we think. Not to get weird.
Beautiful. I think that's a pretty good place to wrap this up. Really interesting. There's really lovely different perspectives coming there to things. So thank you. We do this first Tuesday of every month. Every month a different topic, every month different people. We also do a whole range of community events, 2 a week at the moment. Some paid workshops coming up next week. My colleague Sorrel and I are running a 3-hour workshop for people who went to boarding school or residential school and who perhaps are still struggling, however many decades later, with the after effects of that. An interesting way of, just from where you ended up, Gabby, about home, the title of our work, the sort of work Sorrel and I do together, is Journey to Belonging. It's that sense of coming back, that you belong in your own body, you belong in your community, you belong in your home, and so on. So we're doing that next week. If you want to stay in touch with us, join up on our page or go to schoolofhumankind.com and join our mailing list. We've got a big plan for School of Humankind in 2025, and we'd love you to be part of it. But for now, I think we can probably wrap that up, unless anyone has any urgent final words. Like, my God, I've just realized. No, good. Lovely. Thank you very much for being here, all of us, and any people out in the wide world who've been listening along.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.